my father had a very distinct German accent, so he would say Kiddush. Everyone would notice it. And when he'd finally get through, my mother would always have this resounding, incredible Amen. And it would be noticed by everybody, even blocks away. People would come over. And it was loud, and it was colorful, and it was great. And that, to me, really epitomized my mother. She just had this simchat ha'chaim, a simchas ha'chaim. And it translated into her religious life. And that's what religion and spirituality was for her, a simchas ha'chaim, a love of life, a happiness that she could be. And I was always thinking, even if the most difficult situations, I remember once there was a huge snowstorm, and we were able to get outside, and she said, just relax, chill out, don't worry. Like my brother Ernie was saying, there was never any major, she never got really that upset over things. My father, on the other hand, did. But my mother always tried to compensate for that. And they were a perfect couple on that level. They were able to compensate for each other. My mother was a giver. She really was. She was a tremendous giver. As Reb Desser points out, the word ahava comes from the word hav, which hav means to give. So her love came from giving, and she always was able to do that. And she just had this ability, and I think that my brothers and sisters all reflect some of that. Tova in her matchmaking skills and her getting out, she represented that extroverted side of my mother, and Reggie and her, her spiritual strength represented that part. And my mother loved different songs and different. She had a spiritual side too, and and of course the humor represented, of course, by Ernie. And Gabe and Noah, and they're also in their way of giving to people. There was this power, this amazing ability that my mother had to give over what she had, even though she herself found it difficult to express herself on many levels. I mean, many times when she was just sort of just not there sometimes as a mother. She just, she never did the homework. She wasn't really grandmotherly type. She wasn't, she'd scare my daughter half to death sometimes. She'd say, Zoe Sheva, don't you know who I am? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't want to know. She had that, she had like this directness, and she scared some of her grandchildren. A lot. A lot of that was attributed to her own need to sort of express herself. She went through the Holocaust. She was in an orphanage for a number of years, fleeing the Nazis. Now, any of us have gone when they were 6, 7 years old and in an orphanage not knowing if their mother was going to come back and see them. I don't think we'd be so psychologically healthy either. She was able to really kind of diminish that and forget that and make it so not part of her life. Her life was just going to the next step, going to the next corner, the next adventure. And I only hope that we can all learn from that. And I say this especially to me, and I got engaged over the weekend, so hopefully that we'll find that kind of meaning for my mother. And we'll go to higher and higher heights from that.
Amen.
Amen.
It is no coincidence my mother, Ruth Levy, left this world on Friday night, Shabbos Hanukkah, Parshas Miketz, surrounded by me and my 5 siblings. Hanukkah is a holiday that celebrates a Jewish military victory through the miracle of a small oil vial, which represents the idea that the truth of Judaism, Torah and mitzvos, can appear small, but will leave its mark and burn throughout history. Miketz highlights the reunification of our ancestral family, the 12 tribes, Yosef and his brothers. My mother, Alev Shalom, always loved the beauty and eternal truth of Shabbos, and how it brought the family close, and her extended family within our community together. I remember how our Shabbos guests spanned the social and hashkafic spectrums. but always included new families or those individuals whose family was not as well developed as was previously mentioned. She also used to go to the library, I remember this very clearly, Friday afternoons to get piles of books for us kids to enjoy over Shabbos. And I remember vividly her curled up on the couch, engrossed in a good Shabbos book. As a matter of fact, I came home to visit her recently, and when it came to Shabbos, we had such an amazing time together singing and reading the Haftorah. But the first thing she said was, we got to have guests. You got to invite Sandy. So we did. And, you know, Shabbos was about guests and about family. And it was the highlight of her week and really the highlight of her life, in my opinion. My mother was the bedrock of our family, not just because she loved Shabbos, but because she loved all of her children with equal passion. I don't know if you noticed, no one spoke about who was the favorite. She was always bragging, because we were all her favorites. She was always bragging about us to others and defending us whenever we needed it most. Since I was not the greatest student, that helped. She was also a part of the bedrock of the Detroit Jewish community. When we called her from New York, when I did in later years, she would always update us on the latest developments, who was speaking, which dinner did she go to, who was getting married. My mother also connected me and my siblings in an amazing way to the world of fashion and nature and culture. Her home that she created, as you heard, was filled with baskets, sculptures, paintings, and jewelry from around the world, really. Some from cultures she only read about, but she was fascinated by. Perhaps her biggest strength was her total honesty, as was mentioned. When you asked Ruth her opinion, that's exactly what you got. She was an open book. She loved being honest and open, and our family really never had any secrets. My mother was a tenacious style, similar to my wife Anat, working on behalf of her beloved Benno to create a home that embodied our timeless Jewish values and a family that always reconciled its differences. I will never forget these numerous lessons that you taught by example, Ma. I will love and remember you forever. Please grant me mechila for all of our very honest discussions, and be a melech yotzer, an advocate in the world of truth, a place where you should feel very comfortable. For us, your family, your community, your people, Klal Yisrael, and all the inhabitants of this earth.
Amen.